All right, I'm going to start off with the testimonial. So if you guys didn't know, you can go to Renatus's YouTube channel, and there is tons of stories from Renatus reviews and things of that. So what's really cool is we always talked about show, don't tell, and this is an opportunity for you to learn people's stories and be able to use it when it's appropriate when you're talking to your potential clients. Okay, so I'm going to play Sandra Ostrander, and these are only a few minutes, and you can send these to your potential clients as well.
I was injured in the military, and I got out of the military and didn't know what I was going to do because I thought the Army was was my career. So I worked as a bartender and started coming home late from work, and I saw an infomercial for a real estate program. That's what got me hooked into real estate investing. Well, for 18 years, I bought every book, tape, CD out there. And unfortunately, went through bankruptcy twice trying to do it on my own. So one day I put a post online, and a lady responded and asked me if I would like to come to a meeting. So I went to one of the meetings, and I knew exactly when I walked in the door after about 2 hours later that I was in the right place. So I joined Renatus, and my first year I did 5 deals. My first year I made more money than my husband. So that was a plus for me. One of the first classes that I took when I started my education was creative acquisitions with Chris Albin. And in that class, it changed everything for me because I was able to learn how to buy properties creatively, using none of my own credit during the deals that I did, and very little money out of my own pocket. And for someone with bad credit and no money at the time, being me, that was something that I really needed to do. So I loved that class, and it changed everything for me. Renatus changed everything for me, and I know that it can change for you if you're willing to take action and do what they tell you to do. And I tell you, Renatus is the best education out there.
All right, so what did you guys get from that? I'm gonna open up mine. So Sandra Ostrander, if you guys haven't met her, you will meet her. I think some of you guys have met her. Tiffany and those who went to the national conference. So we want to show people, we don't want to tell them, right? They say, what's different from Renatus? You know, you can tell people Sandra's story, right? She came from the military over 18 years. She tried real estate, invested in tapes, CDs, books, went bankrupt twice, and never did a deal. Since then, her first year, she did 5 deals, and she's a 6-figure earner. She just bought a castle that they live in now in Georgia. If you guys don't follow her on Facebook, you should. Okay. Over 18 years. Why? Because of the community, because she was able to associate herself with people, because it's the best training that's specific and up to date constantly. Never did a deal 18 years since she joined Renatus to become a 6-figure earner in real estate. Okay. All right, let me see. Sorry. Why boom. Trying to pull up the chat. Yeah, so some of you guys have met her. Use her story when you're talking to people. You know, don't tell them how great Renatus is. Show them, all right? And this is going to help you with your real estate deals. You're going to show property owners why working with you is what you can do for them. Why it would be helpful. You want to be that option. Okay. Yeah. So you guys can relate. You guys know how powerful that is. Okay. Over 18 years, never did a real estate deal, went bankrupt twice since joining Renatus, has done 6 figures in real estate profits. First year did 5 deals and made more than her husband. All right, she took the classes, took action, took the classes, took action, associated, and did those types of things, okay? So remember, we're showing people, we're not telling them. Stories sell, facts tell, stories sell. Okay? Facts tell, stories sell. I don't know why my chat's not coming up. Okay. So I hope you guys had a phenomenal week. Right, we're doing our calls Tuesdays and Thursdays now from here on out, just to make it easy on everybody. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays will be our team call. Thursdays will be our events out here in Manteca or whatever we're doing. Okay, so we got with the team last week, and that's what we decided. So updates. So events coming up. Events for August. I'll have to put events coming up. So tomorrow, Wednesday, we have the Find It, Fund It, Flip It workshop. It will be in the back. It will be on the calendar tomorrow. So register for that and register your guest. Remember, we are in the regional competition. So we want to track how many guests you have show up and, those different things for points. Okay. So make sure you're tracking those numbers. Hugh does have the people who will be involved with that. Cool. So we have that. August 3rd, which is this Saturday, corporate, we'll have a corporate streaming. They do this every quarter event from the corporate office or from a different instructor. The fix and flip instructor, Heather. I don't know how to pronounce her last name or spell it. We'll be doing a training. So, I didn't really plan for this. What we could do is, they are streaming it in Sacramento. It starts from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can stream it from your house, right? Everybody's gonna have access to it. You can stream it live. Whatever works best for you guys. I'm thinking about going up to Sacramento, to build some relationships and those different type of things. But I'm open to suggestions. You can always stay home and watch it as well, but it's your business. You can run it any way you want. So August 3rd, which is this Saturday. Okay. And then August 24th, Matt Sorensen will be in Sacramento on raising capital and structuring partnerships. Okay, I was talking to a guest today, and I name dropped him and let him know that this event's coming up. I'm already building for August 24th. So look, I look in the beginning of the month and see what events are coming up, and I build for them so people don't say they don't have enough notice, right? Or get your numbers up. These are the events that that really help people see the power of the community and the education. So I was telling this gentleman about Matt Sorensen, and he heard his name because Matt Sorensen has the #1 book out there on self-directed IRAs. He teaches our IRA class, self-directed retirement accounts in the essentials. And then he also teaches raising capital. Really good deal if you're trying to raise capital and structured partnerships, laws, legalities, all those different types of things. So you should be building for that, planning for that. I have that going. I already have my Eventbrite up and going. You can go to the meetup. It's going to be in there too. So you guys can create your Eventbrites and those different types of things. And then you can just send emails out or text messages with the links. If you guys want to check it out, you guys can go to my, I think I have it. Let me see. I just typed my link in there. The streaming, it'll come up right on the front, or there's a live education tab. So if you guys see here, I'll share my screen. So if you come right up here to the education tab on your original back office and you go to live, you'll see there's live right here. This is where it should be streamed from, and also look out for emails from corporate, right? So that's where you'll be able to stream the event.
Hi everybody, this is Jay Stark.
Okay, so that's where you can find it. Okay. What else? Okay, and then we're going to be running our study groups after the Wednesday meeting tomorrow. This is where we'll get more into the real estate, right? So I believe it's the wholesaling class. And then this is also where you can bring your deals. We'll do deal or no deal. We'll analyze properties you bring and those different types of things together and go through it. So that's really where you will be able to get your help with your real estate in more in-person setting. Okay. Now remember, these events, Renatus is an event-driven business. So the whole goal is to get guests to the events. Now remember, you have the classes. So when they fly out instructors, you have the class. So it's really for your guests and to drive sales, but it's also a great opportunity to network and meet people within the community and build those relationships. Okay, it's an event-driven business, right? You want to get somebody to an event like a cash flow or your Wednesday meetings, or if you have an intro like in San Jose, or they do Wednesdays in Sacramento, and you want to move people through the process, right? So you have maybe a cash flow. We talked a little bit about this on Wednesday, the intro, the follow-up, and then, you can do an intensive and then ask for the order. It's really what we're doing. We're just driving people to events. So that's why it's very important you guys understand the events coming up so you can tell people about them, because you want to sell the events, right? You want to be a promoter, right? You're promoting. Matt Sorensen is going to be showing you how to raise capital and structure partnerships. Let me tell you why that's so critical if you want to scale your business, right? If you need more money, if you need to know how to structure to keep yourself from the SEC laws and all these things. Matt Sorensen is the #1 guy when it comes to self-directed handbook. You can look him up and he'll show you all those different things, right? You'll be able to network with 75, maybe 100 investors and entrepreneurs at our office in Sacramento. If there's anything you can do, anything you can't get out of, I would highly recommend you getting there, right? And I push it really hard. I don't let them say, maybe or that things. I really push it hard and I really sell it hard because it's very important information, right? It would truly help them. So remember, don't really, if your belief is there and really know how much this information is going to change people's lives, you want to get them to as many events as possible and let the system work for you if you're promoting the IMA side. Okay. Is everybody clear on that? We're here to drive and promote events. so that people can, get to see what we're all about if it aligns, right? I just talked to a guy and I told him, we provide these events for value, to network, for resources, but people who want to join have to go through a process, right? And we're kind of weeding people out by bringing them to these events, right? We want to make sure we don't bring any bad apples onto our great core of people. Okay, so remember that. We have something very special, very dynamic, and we want to treat it as such. Cool? All right. Any questions on anything at all you guys can think of? I'm going to go into the JMT training. We're starting a new series off, so that's pretty exciting. But if you guys have any questions, now would be the time. If not, we can go into this. All right, cool. So this new series is called Everyone Communicates But Few Connect. So this is really going to be a phenomenal training on communicating. It's going to help you with networking, with speaking to people, with connecting with people to build those relationships. That's so important to business, right? We're a referral-based business. We're a belly-to-belly business in most aspects. That's the quickest and easiest way to build your business in the beginning, right? So we're going to go into this and then we'll wrap this call up.
I would like to talk to you today on the subject, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. This is off of my book that has just been released, and you have your outlines. And I want to, before I start teaching, kind of give you just the overview of the book. Basically, the book is divided in two sections: connecting principles and connecting practices. And we're going to talk about both of those today. Let's start with, of course, connecting principles. Number one, connecting increases your influence in every situation. For the foundation of the teaching today, I want to make sure that we really have a grasp of why connecting with people is so vital. So if you go to the very first sentence in your notes, the number one criteria for advancement and promotion for professionals is an ability to communicate effectively. That I do believe. I think the ability to connect and communicate is the number one criteria for success with your family, with your marriage, with your children, with your friends, in the workplace, the marketplace, in the community. If you have the ability to connect with people, if you can communicate and connect, not just communicate, it takes you and literally gives you and I a decided edge over others in the advancement of what we're trying to accomplish. For example, in your notes, presidential historian Robert Dallek says that successful presidents exhibit 5 skills and qualities that enable them to achieve things that others don't. So he's talking about leaders and presidents and people. What makes some achieve better than others? Here are the 5 things they do well. Number 1 is vision. Number 2, pragmatism. Number 3, consensus building. The ability to put together a team and get consensus. Number 4, charisma. And number 5, trustworthiness. Being a trustworthy kind of a person. Now, what is interesting about these 5 things that set the better presidents apart from maybe the average ones, 4 of the 5 deal with connecting. Vision is definitely a connecting skill, the ability to cast a future vision. Consensus building, getting people to work together. You have to be able to connect to do that. Charisma, of course, that's why people follow the quote, the Pied Piper, and trustworthy. 4 of the 5 skills needed to be successful as a leader had a lot to do with connecting. So let me define connecting, because that's what this book is all about. Connecting is the ability to identify with people and relate to them in such a way that it increases our influence with them. In other words, we can identify with them until they say, he or she understands exactly what I know and what I'm going through, and we can relate with them until we Because of that ability, we begin to increase our influence with them. And of course, what do I teach about leadership? Very simple. Leadership is influence. I was doing an interview with a businessman in India about 6 months ago, and in the interview, he was with Fortune 500 magazine, and he was talking to me about leadership. And we kept disconnecting. In fact, I've never been on an interview like it. I would say we were disconnected 10 or 12 times. And he was embarrassed, and he called me back, and it was no problem. It took us a little while to work through the landmines of disconnection, but let me tell you this. When we were on the phone, we immediately realized when we disconnected. I mean, there wasn't any guess about it. It wasn't like, oh my goodness, I think we disconnected 2 minutes ago. I mean, immediately you knew when you disconnected. And yet when I talk to people about communication and connecting with people, I can tell you there are a lot of people, they're talking all day long and nobody's home. There's been a disconnect. I mean, I hear many times I'm hearing a good lesson and maybe there's a slide and all of a sudden there's a disconnect. And, you know, I sometimes just want to raise my hand and I just want to tell the person who's doing the teaching, you know, excuse me, you know, you've disconnected here, you know, because what I've found is most people who disconnect don't know it. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be wonderful if communication was like a phone? And you know, when we disconnect, there's kind of like a buzz, you know, and, oh, nobody's, and then you stop, say, whoops, excuse me, I'm boring you. I know, I'm disconnected with you. Let me back up. Let me see if I can find you again. So I began to write in the book what I would call connecting signals. How do I know when I'm connecting with you, whether I'm speaking to you as a group or when I'm speaking and talking to you one-on-one? Let me give them to you. Extra effort. When you're connecting with people, they go the extra mile. Unsolicited appreciation. When you're connecting with people, positive things are said. Unguarded openness. When you connect with people, there's a sense of openness and trust that begins to be demonstrated. Increased communication. People express themselves more often and more readily when you're connecting with them. Enjoyable experiences. In other words, you're feeling good about the conversation. There's a synergy being given it. Emotional bondedness. That's always displayed at the connection level. Positive energy. In other words, the emotional batteries are being charged. Growing synergy. And in other words, as the connecting increases and gets better, it builds. Unconditional love. There seems to be an acceptance without reservation when a person really knows how to connect with people. Now, these are not all of them, but these are just kind of connecting signals. So when you're talking one-on-one or in a group, you can kind of say, I think some of these signals are kind of showing up here. Interestingly enough, before I ever knew that I was going to speak, as a child, connecting became very important to me. I can still remember in elementary school looking around the room and seeing some kids that connected with their teacher. They were called teachers' pets. Do you remember? And other kids that didn't connect at all. And I can remember, I'm talking about second, third grade, beginning to study what makes some kids connect with their teacher, what makes some teachers connect with their kids, and what doesn't. Now, it was very unsophisticated, but at a very early age, I understood that there was going to be a relationship between my success and my ability to connect with people. And I put in your notes one of my favorite stories about connection and what happens when you don't connect well. I just love it. It's called Jorge Rodriguez, the Bank Robber. Jorge Rodriguez was an Old West bank robber from Mexico who operated along the Texas border around 1900. Rodriguez was so successful that the Texas Rangers established a special force to try to stop him. Late one afternoon, one of the Special Rangers saw Rodriguez slipping across the border back into Mexico. He trailed him at a discreet distance. He watched as the outlaw returned to his home village and mingled with the people in the square. When Rodriguez went into his favorite cantina to relax, the Ranger slipped in and managed to get the drop on him. With a pistol in the bank robber's head, the lawman said, "Jorge Rodriguez, I know who you are. I've come to get back all the money that you have stolen from the banks in Texas. And unless you give it to me, I'm going to blow your brains out." Rodriguez could see the man's badge, and He could discern his hostile intent, but there was a problem. He didn't speak English. He began speaking rapidly in Spanish, but the ranger couldn't understand what he said because he didn't speak Spanish. Just then a young boy came up and said in English, "I can help. I speak English and Spanish. Do you want me to be your translator?" The ranger nodded. The boy quickly explained everything that the ranger had said. Nervously, Rodriguez answered, "Tell the big Texas Ranger that I've not spent a cent of the money. If he would go to the town well, face north, count down 5 stones. He will find a loose one there, pull it out, and all the money is behind there. Please tell him quickly." The boy looked back at the ranger and said, "Senor, Jorge Rodriguez is a brave man. He says he's ready to die." Poor Jorge Rodriguez, huh? He only had one problem. Couldn't connect. Back to your notes. The ability to connect with others begins with the understanding the value of people. And this is a great truth. So let me just repeat it one more time, then we're going to go to what Jim Collins says. The ability to connect with others begins with understanding the value of people. I've never known a person to connect well with others that did not value people. Collins, author of Good to Great, observes, "Those who build great companies understand that the ultimate throttle on growth for any great company is not markets, technology, competition, products. It's one thing above all others." Here we go. The ability to get and keep enough of the right people. Jay Hall, the consulting firm Telemetrics, has studied the performance of 16,000 executives and found a direct correlation between achievement and the ability to care for and connect with people. Here are the few findings. We'll start at the left side, high achievers. We'll go left to right across the grid. High achievers cared about people as well as profits. Average achievers concentrated on production, and low achievers were preoccupied with their own security. A lot of difference. High achievers, back to the left side, viewed subordinates optimistically, while average achievers were focused more on their own status, position. Low achievers showed a basic distrust of subordinates. Back to the left side. High achievers sought advice from those under them. Average achievers were reluctant to seek advice from those under them, and low achievers didn't seek advice. I can believe that. High achievers were listeners. Average achievers listened only to superiors, and low achievers avoided communication and relied on policy manuals. Beware of those who rely on policy manuals. Number one, we've just looked at very briefly, but it is true that your ability to connect increases your influence with everyone. So when you think of connecting with people, it will always add value to whatever you're doing. It will always make you better if you know how to connect.
All right. Lesson 1. Let me see if I can pull it up. In my notes. So type in the chat your guys' biggest takeaways. I'm gonna pull mine up here. So it goes on to say, you have to communicate and connect in order to be successful as a leader. Skills that successful leaders have shown is vision, pragmatism, consensus building, charisma, and trustworthiness. Ability to identify with people and relate in a way that relate in a way such that increases our influences, right? Leadership is influence. He said when people are speaking or communicating, most people don't see that they're disconnected, right? He's like, there's some ways to identify that. When you're connecting with people, they show some extra effort, some unsolicited appreciation. They're unguarded and they're very open. They increase their communication with you. They enjoy their experiences. You have an emotional bondness. There's positive energy, growing synergy, and unconditional love. So people want us to, we want to identify and relate to people to where we understand. So the ability to connect with others begins with understanding the value of people. How valuable can somebody be to you and your business, to you and your future, to you and your family? It's all through people. It's all through connecting. Okay? And then he goes in to talk about high achievers, average achievers, and low achievers. He says, high achievers care about people as well as profits. They see subordinates optimistically. They seek advice from those under them, and they're great listeners. Average achievers concentrate on production, focus more on status, their own status, reluctant to seek advice from those under them, and listen only to their superiors. Low achievers are preoccupied with their own security. They distrust subordinates, seek advice, or they don't seek advice, and they rely on policy manuals, right? So let me go into find value in others, relate to them, listen to them, be trustworthy. Positive things come from connecting with people. High achievers value people and seek advice, right? So in order to really connect with somebody, we have to listen, right? Let me see this one. We must listen to understand, not to respond. So when you're listening is an activity. And I know for me, this is a challenge, and this is why I bring it up, and I know it is with most people. We have to be actively listening. It is a verb, right? We have to be proactive in listening, not just listening for our response, or we hear something, our mind shuts down because we want to point out a certain part of what they say, right? They give you an objection and you're just so focused on responding to it instead of understanding and relating, right? You want to identify with them, relate, and understand. Everybody wants to be understood, right? Everybody wants you to see it from their point of view and their perspective, right? And acknowledging that by saying, you know what, I can see where you're coming from. I understand. I felt the same way until I found out this. There's a great way to help people identify with them, relate, and understand with them. That Bob Snyder, I learned from Bob Snyder. It's called the Feel, Felt, Found. So it goes like this, right? You know, I know how you feel. I felt that before until I found out that there is nothing else out there that offers the support you're looking for like Renatus. I feel, I felt, and I found out, right? We're showing them, we're not telling them. We're relating and identifying with them and their feelings because everybody wants to feel important. And you'll start to see, he went over different ways that you'll see people, you're connecting with people. They start to open up more. They're less guarded. You see an emotional bondage, right? So if we want to practice listening, and this is something I need to work on more than anybody, is just truly listening, identifying, relating, and understanding where people are coming from. You're listening to your prospects as you're listening to clients or potential sellers or to people you're networking with. You can help them provide value. And the more you help people get what they want, the more you'll get what you want. But if you're not listening and you start thinking of things while they're talking that you think will be a great response, That might not be the full picture yet because you've already stopped listening. So what's some ways that we can connect better with people? What do you guys think? What's some different ways we can connect better with our guests, connect better with potential sellers, we can connect better with each other when communicating, right? We're talking about when communicating. So what do you guys think? Tiffany says, I've worked under both people who connect and who do not connect. Big difference. The connectors were admired and respected far more and productivity was high. Ask questions and listen. She says, ask questions. Leslie says a very good one, and that's smiling, right? That's a big one, right? Asking questions is a great one, and listening. Be more understanding and seeing it from people's perspective. Some of the best connectors and communicators I know are so good at this. You can still understand somebody and see it from their perspective, whether you agree with it or not, right? We all have different perspectives. We all have different life experiences. It makes us see things all in a different way. And that's the power of working with each other and communicating and masterminding because of that alone. But if you're not open to it, or you're stuck in your ways, or you want to be right all the time, it's going to be very hard to connect with people. Are you being understanding? Are you seeing it from the perspective? You don't have to agree with them, but you can respect their views. And this being able to identify and relate with them, overall connecting with them, which ultimately is influence. Right? Because that's what we're doing. We're becoming leaders, and leadership is influence, right? That's what this whole training on John Maxwell is about. Is influence, leadership, connecting, and helping people so we can all prosper together, right? But in order to do that, we have to connect, right? Eye contact, compliment. It is more challenging, Mary, but the good thing is we love challenges, right? And if we look at it from that perspective, this is a book I read a couple of weeks ago that, with communicating, and it's hard to communicate with certain people more than others. He says, we must look at it as a challenge, right? And we enjoy challenges. It's a challenge to connect with somebody when they're guarded and quiet, but that doesn't mean we can't do it. All right. Be more open with them. Be more unguarded with them. Ask them questions and be very interested. That's why one of the best questions that I've learned from this team is, other than work, what are you passionate about? A lot of people don't want to talk about work, but they love talking about their passions. I've had people just, they're just light up, their whole face changes. They pull out their phone, they show you pictures, then you're connecting with them. So there's different things we can ask questions to help them get unguarded, to open them up. All right. And we see it as a challenge, and we're working on that because, we're just trying to get better for ourselves anyway, right? And if it doesn't work out, great. You keep trying anyway. So I do understand it is more challenging connecting with other people when they don't want to connect, or they're more guarded individuals. Maybe I shouldn't say not wanting to connect, but they're more guarded. They're a little bit more quieter, and that's where we can help out. People are guarded and quiet, really just want someone to understand them. Yeah, that's a work. Yeah, for sure, right? So how did you guys like that first video with John Maxwell? The new series we're gonna have. Yeah. think it's going to be really good. I'm excited about it. All right, guys. So, that's kind of what I have for today. We got an event tomorrow. Remember, you can go through the Renatus reviews and see all the different Renatus stories on there. I mean, there's tons of them. We have events for August coming up. Tomorrow we have an event. And then our events will be on Thursdays for cash flow. And then we have the big event on the 24th. Okay. Study groups tomorrow. Bring your deals. Remember, one of the golden rules I've learned from Bob Snyder is he said, always make it to the events and never come to alone. And never come alone. Attend the events and never come alone, right? So we're an event-driven business. I talked to you guys Wednesday that were there about the new rollout we're going to be having with our new team members, and this is one thing you guys should do is make your list of people and let them know you're in real estate and you're looking to buy properties. Let them know you're real estate and you buy properties because your business is based off referrals, right? I've been doing that and I've been seeing tremendous results. It's very non-threatening. So if you're not having enough leads, because if you're not getting leads, you're not having a business, just call people, let them know in your real estate you're looking to buy some properties. If you know anybody who's looking to sell or even interested in learning it, please let me know. And you'll find out it's very non-threatening. Their guard is more down. So if you're having problems bringing people or having guests, just call them up and let them know you're in real estate. Heck, you might get a money lender or a seller. I followed up with, 10, 15 people on Facebook Messenger like Sandy Clark's did. I got some property sent to me, connected with some new wholesalers, connected with an old friend that just moved back from Baltimore to Monterey. So we're going to meet up. I mean, just contacting people and following up and touching bases with them will keep your pipeline full. Will keep your resources growing. Will get your name and your exposure out there. Just calling people if you just looked in your phone book and just called the people, an hour a day or 10 a day, whatever works for you consistently, I'm seeing some pretty good results on it because you already have that trust factor with most of them. And you're just letting them know what you're doing. Your business is based off referrals. You know anybody who needs to sell, right? So if you're having challenges getting leads or, talking to people, it's way easier to get people that know you and trust you to events or to refer you business than somebody random you're meeting, right? Just messaging people on Facebook and just connecting, not trying to do anything besides connecting, genuinely see how people are, letting them know what you're doing, what you're so passionate about. I use it on a buddy of mine, or I went to school with him back in middle school, and it was a very stale conversation, when you can figure out when you guys are disconnecting. So I just asked him, what are you passionate about? You got any side hobbies? And he gave you one of those emoji faces, like, what is it? Where is this going? Right. And I was like, man, I just want to see, what you're up to. And then he starts talking about fishing and hunting and all these things. Comes to find out, it gets geared towards real estate, and his dad's a broker. And, letting him know, looking for some multifamily and single family properties. And he could potentially be a partner or money lender down the road. But he has a lot of connections. He's killing it as a broker. And he does investment properties for other people. So don't you think the Velocity Banking will help his business? So I sent them the Velocity Banking link. Just by talking to people I've known for many years that I haven't connected with. And if it doesn't work out, cool. No, you're just saying hi anyway, right? So if you're struggling to find leads, keeping your pipeline full, and you want your name to get out there because everybody needs to know you're in real estate, right? You're marketing yourself. That's a really good way to do it. No event Thursday this week, Mary. It's going to be tomorrow on Wednesday, and then they're going to start on Thursdays next week. Does everybody get this? Something so simple you can do, right? This business is so simple. Keep it simple. Go through the training, talk to people. All right, and it's good practice on your friends to let them know what you do so that it should be second nature when you guys are talking to strangers or just talking to people out and about. So call people, let them know you're in real estate, you're looking to buy some properties for cash. Maybe if they have a mortgage, you let them know about the Velocity Banking. You tell them about the story with Hugh and how we put people on a plan to save $758,000. All right, just keep it simple. Does this make sense? The address is 2120 Daniel Street in Manteca, Mary. It will be on the calendar. So you can get it there. Make sure you register. Well, guys, I hope you got something from it. Connect with people. Let them know you're in real estate. Invite them to an event. Come on out. Prepare for the next month. Let's really get this going, right? We got the start of August, second month of the quarter. All right, evaluate where you're at and what you can do to improve every single day. Yes, it's in Manteca, Mary. Most likely it'll always be in Manteca. And if it's not, everybody will know for sure. But I think we have the venue for Manteca for the next month for sure. So it's already been booked in. All right, guys, if you guys don't have anything else. Hope you guys have a phenomenal night. Excited to see you guys there tomorrow. And let's make it happen. All righty, guys. Yep, Mr. Carlos, everybody.